In this video, we're going to show you how to set up the system to inject based on mass airflow. As you know, the CMGS controller auto learn system can inject based on vacuum, boost, or mass airflow. The range of the mass airflow can go from 200 Hertz to 20,000 Hertz. It can work in descending or ascending order. In this video, we're going to show you a little bit how to adjust everything. When you get the system, regardless of what system you purchased, it's going to inject based on boost. If you want to inject based on MAF, you need to set it up to do so. Go into configuration mode by setting the minimum down to 1 and then setting the maximum down to 1. It's going to count down. Once it counts down to 0, you're in configuration mode. Okay, now it's waiting for you to set up a parameter. In our instruction document, the PDF, you're going to see the parameters of your system. I think they probably start around page 4 or 5. But anyway, the display mode is the first parameter that we're going to change because it's going to display vacuum and boost right now. So let's go ahead and display mass airflow. In order to do that, we need to set the first parameter. The first parameter is ready to go. Once you go into configuration mode, it defaults at the first parameter. To change a parameter, you use the minimum dial. I happen to know that mass airflow is value number 2. So we're going to set it to 2. After you do that, take the maximum dial and move it to the second one. The second bar across the top is going to be your mass airflow. Now, watching the video, it probably looks across the top like you got 3 or 4 or 5 duty cycle bars lit up, and unfortunately it's just the way the lighting works. When you actually look at it, you will see that there's 2 bars that are lit up right now. And to advance to the next bar, you use the maximum dial. To change the value, you use the minimum dial. I need to change this one to 1. Alright, now that I've changed the first, and by changing it, you set the minimum dial. That's how you change the value. Once you've got everything set the way you want it, since we don't need to change anything else, we're going to get out of configuration mode. To do that, turn the maximum all the way to the right, then turn the minimum all the way to the right. You must do it in that order. This saves it. Now you'll notice that it goes from 2 to 200. And what that means is it's basically going from, you have to multiply everything times 100. So it's going from 200 Hertz to 20,000 Hertz or 20 kilohertz. So now what we're going to do is we're going to give you a little bit of an example and show you how it works. Now I just turned the function generator on. It's in a controlled environment, so it's easy for you to understand how it works. Right now you can see our mass airflow. And it's increasing. That's just giving you an example of how it may show up on your car, depending on how you have it set and so forth. Okay. Now, if we want to set this up to inject, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the minimum dial and set it where we want it to turn on. Let's just say, for example, you want it to turn on at 140 Hertz, and you want it to be maximum by 390 Hertz. Again, we're just picking these values. Now, if you take a look at the bars, every single bar across the top is lit up. It is at 100% duty cycle right now. And hopefully you'll be able to see the bars change as we reduce the value on the MAF. So you see now we're probably around 60% duty cycle. Each of the bars is a 10% across the top in run mode is the percentage of duty cycle. And then once you're down to where below the minimum, it turns itself off. So there are quite a few different features to the system and how it works. And our objective in this, of course, is to give you the give you the basis. The other option for turning it on and injecting, depending on how your MAF system works, if you have a MAF system where it works in reverse, where you start out at a high mass airflow and you reduce to a lower one, then you can set the minimum dowel lower than the maximum dowel, and it will inject in reverse, which is kind of what we're doing right now. If you noticed where we set the minimum and maximum, and you can see that you're at 40% duty cycle. It's important to note that in all other modes, in boost mode, in every other mode that we have, if you turn the maximum lower than the minimum, the system will not inject. However, in mass airflow mode, that is not true, because we know there are some MAFs that start high and they reduce lower, and some that are lower and they reduce higher. This is designed so it works for all of them. But you need to be aware that when that duty cycle light across the top is lighting up, your system is injecting.